This is The Daily Rule. I'm your host, Bryce Prescott, and welcome to your insider access to the mindset, skill sets, and habits of the truly successful. These rules of success are short 10 to 15 minute messages, making it easy to consume and share for maximum impact. Here's today's Daily Rule. What is going on, my friends? Naturally, this is your host, Bryce Prescott. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of The Daily Rule. Look, I wanted to talk to you today about poverty and about how a poverty mindset and just the filter, the lens to which you look at your life has massive impact into the results that you get to experience. I was reminded of this experience last week. Naturally, I was on vacation with my family. I talked to you guys a little bit about that on the last episode. And I have an 18-year-old son, and he's a very unique individual. I'll put it that way. He's growing into his own. He's a good kid. He doesn't get into trouble. He's not into drugs or any problems like that. He's been relatively easy for us, honestly. But he does have some interesting parts of his personality that have been a challenge to learn how to deal with. And we saw that in full force as we were in southern Utah. There was this point where we were at this national park, or excuse me, it was a state park called Dead Horse Point. And for any of you that are familiar with the southern Utah, Dead Horse Point is basically just a giant lookout. There's these 2,000 plus sheer cliff walls with there's like this area called the amphitheater, which is this big sort of sprawling amphitheater type of ledge. You can see for miles and miles, just really, really gorgeous red rock. You can see the towers and the name behind Dead Horse Point is really kind of morbid in a way. In the old days, the Indians and whatnot would take the crazy horses up there, and basically if they were dumb enough to fall off the cliff and die, they knew that they were never going to be able to break them. And so that was how they filtered through what their animals were going to be. Dead Horse Point, right? Welcome to the United States. Anyway, so there's this big giant ridgeline that we can kind of hike along. There's a visitor center where you get there and you start there and you just kind of hike the trail. And at any point, you can walk off the trail and you're within, maybe 50 yards of a road, and that road you can walk back. And there's no loop or anything. You're just basically walking as far as you're willing to walk for the different vantage points of, Dead Horse Point. And there's like a jetty that kind of goes around everything. It's a lot of walking with not a destination. Like the destination is the experience of looking out over the ledges. It's completely gorgeous. Well, we're there and there's 8 people. There's my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, my wife and I and our 4 kids. And we're walking, and my son just feels this inherent desire to always be up front, to the point to where he was several hundred yards ahead of us. And like I said, there was really no ending to this. There was no purpose. There was no destination to which we were going. We were going so that we could see. And when we, got up close to him and he turned around, and I asked him, what are you doing, dude? What's the hurry? Well, you guys are slow. I'm like, well, slow to where? What's the destination here, buddy? And it became a thing where he was upset with us for bugging him about walking too fast. And we're going, where are you going, buddy? And I was stewing over that because as a dad, I was a little bit upset. I'm like, just hang out with the family. Where are you going, man? And it made me think on a deeper level about some of the different things that we do as passengers on this planet when it comes to our lives. We're oftentimes in a race to nowhere as well. We don't have a destination mapped out. We're just trying to do things bigger and better and faster. I see this all over podcast land and influencer land with a lot of these really loud, verbose, voices in the space. Successful entrepreneurs that have podcasts that their whole thing is to yell at you and to tell you what an MF they are, and the whole thing. And this idea of putting ourselves in a position to have pain or to do more or to be more productive or to achieve more is great when you have an outcome determined. But a lot of times that outcome isn't determined, and so it's a weird sort of way to punish yourself through getting up even earlier and earlier and doing more and being more productive and burning out to a point to where, months down the road, years down the road, you might have accomplished some things, but you don't love anything about your experience. You don't understand how the moment of now is more important than the moment of now tomorrow, even though we have to pay attention to the moment of now to get to a moment of now for tomorrow that we'll enjoy. I know that sounds, wait, where carry the 4? All right. The point I'm getting at here is that productivity for the sake of productivity is useless. Fitness for the sake of fitness is useless. Money for the sake of money, it's useless. It's got to be put towards a purpose that has an end. We are not on a race to nowhere. And so anytime you listen to these daily rules or you watch these videos on YouTube, anytime you're thinking about, well, what information right now is going to help me to get over the hump? How am I going to take this and apply it so I can have a better mindset to develop further skill sets and habits? It all, again, has to do with where you want to go and being very deliberate about what is going to get you there. I'll share an experience that I'm having currently with one of my clients. This gentleman's an extremely successful business person. I didn't start out that way. When we started working together, he had some challenges and we were able to work through them. And now his business is running smooth. He was able to 6x his revenue in the course of working with me. We've been together now for 8 months. And in this current quarter, he's on a year-long program with me. The current quarter, our focus is about trimming the fat. We've shot some arrows into the future for goals that he wanted to accomplish. We've created the plan to get there. And he's achieved a lot of those benchmarks, and it's been a really powerful thing for him. Now he's looking at the next level, but we understand, and I'm helping him to see this, that you got to cut some things loose to be able to get to that level. You have to increase your efficiency. And so this idea of, the race to nowhere is really, really in our face, in my face right now, especially in my own business, where I'm looking at this going like, what exactly do I need? What is going to get me there? Where can I save energy? Where can I expend more energy that's going to be more productive to get me to that end of where I want to go? I have no desire to teach or be a part of any messaging that is just having your foot on the gas just 'cause. My entire message and why I do the daily rule, everything that I talk about in my coaching, is to create a life for myself and for anybody that's involved with me, that's willing to let me help them, that is balanced. A life where you have all the money that you need to do anything that you would ever want to, ever. And to have created it so that money is paired with having the time to do the things that you want to do. The time to care for your body so that you look good, you feel amazing in your body, so that then that carries over into your relationships and you have more passionate, intimate exchanges with your partner, that you feel better, you look better, you understand how much easier it is to go through life when you're feeling attractive because you've cared for your body and you eat well and you handle things properly. And then that translates into your business, and that translates into having a legacy and a purpose. It's all about having an end. If you don't have a true destination decided, what's it all for? Just for the sake of saying you did it? There was an experience that I had. I've shared this before on the podcast, but I'm going to bring it up again. About a year ago in my stand-up comedy career, I was going through a really challenging period where I wasn't doing very well at the open mics that I was going to. I was having a hard time crafting funny jokes. And then I'd get up on stage and I would bomb, and it was humiliating, and I'd feel rejected, and it was affecting me. And the advice that I was being given was, you got to keep pushing through, man. You got to keep pushing through. And so I did. And I realized that although that advice was good, it was incomplete, because a friend of mine's wife said to me, and she's a very powerful empath, she goes, you need to stop for a minute. You're doing this because you're wanting to be punished instead of wanting to have fun and to work through it. And the idea that I was stepping into something because it was painful and I just wanted to feel that punishment was something that my conscious mind hadn't grasped. But when I heard it, I felt it on a subconscious level that, yeah, I'm doing this because for some reason I just want to get kicked in the gut. And I don't need that. That doesn't help me right now. That actually gets me further from my goals of being a good stand-up comedian, because part of the process of learning how to be great at that is getting people to laugh and then taking what's good and building upon it, not continually sucking up the place and feeling bad about it and feeling bad about yourself. Yes, you have to understand how that feels so that you can get out of it, but you don't have to linger there. And I was lingering. And so to wrap up the entire messaging of this, the point I'm getting is that every single thing that we do, we have to make sure we understand why we're doing it and what our purpose is. Falling in love with the process is completely a part of it. Sometimes we have to do things that suck, but only when we know why we're doing it and where it's getting us to. That's the beauty of this. It's about knowing where you're going and then drudging through the challenging points, because you know that this is the hard work you have to do to get there. If you don't have a destination, if you don't have an idea of what you want, if you don't have a benchmark you're searching for, and you're just doing things because they're hard, what? That makes zero sense, and it's not necessary. So that's today's rule. When you make a step, make sure you know where that step is taking you. Know your destination. And then put your foot on the gas. My friends, hope you've enjoyed this episode. And you know the drill. I want you a part of my Daily Rule Facebook group. The link to that is in either the show notes or the YouTube description. Please feel free to reach out to me with anything. There's a link in that as well to go right to my Facebook Messenger, which is how you can communicate directly with me. I do have a free giveaway at that. Additionally, check out applythescience.com if you want to see some of the aspects of my story and the potential to work with me in a very affordable capacity. My friends, I'm wrapping this up. You know the drill. Love your life, live out loud, and like I always say, until next time, take it a day at a time. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Daily Rule. If you'd like assistance applying today's rule to your life, I invite you to click the link in the show notes and download my free assessment tool, The 3 Methods, that helps you to know exactly where you should focus your attention for the quickest transformation. As you're aware, the opportunities to be coached directly by me are limited, but if you'd like to see if you're a fit for us to transform your performance and your mindset together, making your life exactly what you've always hoped it would be, reach out to me at bryce@rulesofsuccess.com. Also, if today's episode resonated with you, I ask that you please head to iTunes and leave me a 5-star rating and review. That link is also in the show notes. Thanks again for joining me for The Daily Rule.